Thank you so much for joining us, doctor. I appreciate it. Let's start with stress. All of us are stressed, right? Parents, not parents, working, not working, we're just stressed. How do you tell your clients and your patients to minimize stress?
Yeah, Liz, great to be with you. If we had the answer to stress, we'd all be gazillionaires. And, this is what I always tell my patients. Just because we don't have the definite answer to end all stress, it doesn't mean that we can't impact the way that stress affects us. And so one of the tried and true ways, I know it sounds trite and everybody talks about it, but it works really well, is to do regular exercise. And what regular exercise does is it convinces your system that every once in a while, you're going to be in kind of a more stressed situation. Exercise is a good stress, but it's still a stress. But that your body learns that it will go away. And so the ultimate long-term impact of stress is dissipated over time. So exercise regularly to impact the acute stressors in front of you.
I love that you mentioned exercise, and it's such a great way to get out energy. But I'm curious, if you have some working parents, or even if you're young and you're working 2 jobs, how in the world do you make time to go to the gym for an hour? Does it have to be a really long workout?
Yeah, it does not have to be a really long workout, but we've got to get out of this idea that you can say, I don't have time, because we've got to find the time to treat ourselves first before we treat others. We've got all these metaphors. I always tell people, you cannot pour from an empty cup, go fill your cup first. Here's what some of the research says, Liz. It says that if you did 10 minutes of high impact training, it's better than 0 exercise altogether. There are the YouTube and all the other search engines are replete with people who can show you how to do short, high interval training exercises and do those frequently.
Okay, so that makes me feel a bit better. I don't have to have the clock starting at 1 and make it to 60 when I'm at the gym. You talked about pouring from an empty glass. Listen, I'm not alone when I say I really love a glass of wine at night, and I'm curious because are you telling me that I need to quit that?
Yeah, this is one of those sticky situations. So you have to kind of almost have a political message. You don't want people sending you hate mail. But this is one of the things that we also look at people's profile is. We say some individuals can enjoy a little bit, moderate amounts of alcohol and then still have some health benefits. And then there's other people who should not drink it at all. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds trite again. This is a situation where you've got to hire a doctor that you trust, have that conversation with the doctor. Is alcohol okay with me? Here's one thing I'm going to say before we stop on this topic. Don't have a nightcap. It only serves to wake you up later at night.
Yeah, I know. And one of the things, I'm not sure if this is a big improvement, but I've started my glass of wine, which is probably kind of suspicious earlier, but I'm not driving. So let's all keep that there. Now, one thing that you do say.
And not driving. That's right. That's right.
Not driving, right? And in safe conditions. When we talk about eating and drinking, and I just mentioned earlier, 5 o'clock rolls around and I tell my kids it's time for us to start preparing for dinner because I also want them to fill their bellies earlier. Is that going to improve my sleep and their sleep if we eat dinner earlier, or is it okay if we have it at 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah, there's a lot of research around eating earlier. It's sort of not only good for sleep, just because of the hormonal shifts and the nervous system shifts that happen to help you digest the food, but it also helps the midsection, right? Kids aren't necessarily worried about their midsection, but the parents are, moms and dads are. And the earlier you eat, the more you have time to work off some of the calories that you use. Remember what the body does. It's programmed to store the energy that it does not use. And so if you don't use it right then, it's going to store. And guess what? When you're 50, almost like me, it stores in some very unsightly places. So you don't want to do that.
First of all, you don't look 50. Second of all, I wouldn't describe anything about you unsightly, Dr. Dave Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Some helpful tips. I'm going to have that glass of wine nice and early tonight, and I'm going to work out as much as I can. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.